Two of the biggest names in artificial intelligence. Two companies spending billions to dominate the AI race. And right now, the battle between them is getting seriously interesting because ChatGPT and Gemini aren't just getting smarter. They're becoming completely different kinds of tools. One is focused on reasoning, deep work, and getting complicated things right. The other is obsessed with speed, massive amounts of information, and connecting AI to the tools you already use every day. So here's the question. If you could only pay for openai in 2026, ChatGPT or Gemini, which one should you choose? And more importantly, which one can actually help you save time, learn faster, create content, or even make money? Let's find out. Let's start with the obvious question. Which one is smarter? This is where things get complicated. ChatGPT has built a reputation around reasoning. Give it a complicated problem, a piece of code that's breaking, a business strategy, or a long task with multiple instructions, and one of its biggest advantages is how well it can break that problem down. And that's important because AI isn't really useful just because it can give you an answer. The real test is whether it can think through the problem with you. Imagine you're building a website. You don't just want AI to write 20 lines of code. You want it to understand the entire project, identify why something isn't working, fix it, and explain what changed. That's where ChatGPT is particularly strong. But here's the twist. Gemini isn't some second-place AI. Google has been pushing extremely hard on reasoning, multimodal understanding, and long context tasks. And this brings us to Gemini's biggest weapon. Imagine uploading a huge research document, then another, then a spreadsheet, then a presentation, then asking, compare all of these, find the important information, and give me a strategy. This is where Gemini becomes extremely interesting. Google has invested heavily in long context AI, meaning the model can work with enormous amounts of information in a single conversation. And that's not just a cool technical number. It changes what you can actually do. A student could give it massive study material and ask for a revision plan. A researcher could analyze large collections of documents. A business owner could feed it reports and spreadsheets and ask for patterns. A content creator could use it to research an entire topic before writing a script. But there's something even more important than context, where the AI lives. And this is where Google has a serious advantage. Think about what you do every day. You probably use email, documents, spreadsheets, calendar, cloud storage, maybe YouTube, maybe Google Drive. Now imagine your AI is already inside all of those tools. That's the Gemini strategy. Instead of making you leave your workflow and open another AI website, Google wants AI sitting directly inside the products you already use. You're writing an email? AI can help. You're working on a document? AI can help. You're analyzing a spreadsheet? AI can help. You're researching something? AI can help. And that sounds like a small convenience. But for someone running a business, saving 20 minutes every day becomes hours every month, and hours become money. But ChatGPT has its own weapon, and this one matters enormously for creators. If you're a YouTuber, freelancer, marketer, or online business owner, ChatGPT can become something much bigger than a chatbot. You can use it for brainstorming, scripts, research, coding, business plans, customer support, data analysis, automation, and custom AI workflows. Instead of asking AI one question at a time, you can build repeatable systems around the tasks you perform every day. For example, imagine you're a YouTube creator. Instead of starting from zero every time you make a video, you could create a workflow that helps you generate the idea, research the topic, structure the script, create titles, develop thumbnail concepts, and prepare descriptions. You're no longer just using AI. You're building a production system around it. And that's where the real value of AI starts appearing. But Gemini has an answer. If your work already happens inside Google's ecosystem, Gemini can remove a lot of friction. And for freelancers, consultants, and businesses handling large amounts of information, that can be incredibly valuable. So we're getting closer to the answer. But there's one category where the decision becomes much easier: money. On paper, the premium subscriptions from ChatGPT and Google are in roughly the same price range. So don't make your decision based purely on which one is a few dollars cheaper. Instead, ask yourself, what am I actually going to use it for? If you spend most of your time coding, researching, writing, brainstorming, or building complex workflows, ChatGPT may give you more value. If you're heavily invested in Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Drive, and Google's ecosystem, Gemini may give you more value. And if you're a developer building AI-powered software, pricing becomes even more important. The cost of AI APIs can become significant when you're processing thousands or millions of requests. Google has aggressively competed on efficiency and pricing in this area. But here's the mistake I see people making. They ask, which AI is the cheapest? Instead, ask, which AI helps me make or save the most money? Because paying for a tool that saves you 10 hours a month could be a bargain. Paying for something you barely use is expensive. So, which one should you actually choose? Here's my honest answer. Don't choose based on hype. Choose based on your workflow. If you're a developer, ChatGPT is a very strong choice for complex reasoning, coding, debugging, and building workflows. If you're a student or researcher, both are powerful, but Gemini becomes especially attractive when you're working with huge amounts of information. If you're a YouTube creator, I'd seriously consider using both. Use one to challenge your ideas. Use the other to research, organize, or process information. If you're a Google Workspace power user, Gemini makes a lot of sense because AI is already moving into the tools you use every day. And if you're running an AI-powered business, don't just compare subscription prices. Compare the actual cost of your workflow. So, ChatGPT or Gemini? If you want a simple answer, ChatGPT is the tool I'd lean toward for deep reasoning, coding, complex tasks, and flexible AI workflows. Gemini is the tool I'd lean toward for Google integration, massive context tasks, speed, and working across Google's ecosystem. But here's the part I think most people are missing. You don't necessarily have to choose. The smartest AI users in 2026 aren't asking, which AI is better? They're asking, which AI is better for this task? Because AI isn't a boxing match. You don't need one winner. You need the right tool for the job. And if using two tools helps you produce twice as much work, serve more clients, create more content, or learn faster, then the subscription cost isn't really the important number. The important number is your return. So before you spend another dollar on AI, ask yourself one question. What am I actually trying to accomplish with it? Because the best AI isn't necessarily the one with the highest benchmark score. It's the one that makes you more productive. And if you want, I'll take this battle one step further. ChatGPT versus Gemini versus Claude versus Grok. 4 of the biggest AI models. One winner. And the results might surprise you. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.